Ladies and gentlemen, I just want to remind you that if you do enjoy the content on our channel here at Into Thin Air, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel by clicking the subscribe button. You will see the number of subs here, and then right next to it is a bell, and you want to click this bell until you get little quote lines around it. This way you get all of our notifications the second we post them. This goes for live streams and any other posted videos, as well as the community posts. So thank you so much for that, and looking forward to seeing you as part of the Into family. Thank you so much. Welcome back, my friends. It is Wednesday, August 7th, 2019, 8:08 p.m. And oh man, we got so much going on between weather and just typical world news going on in the U.S. Stuff just too much to cover in one video, so we're going to cover a couple key topics here, and then throughout the week, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, we're going to get into some of the stuff that's been going on in the U.S. A couple topics we don't usually get into, but we have almost no choice but to talk about this type of stuff. But first and foremost, I want to get into these typhoons in the Western Pacific, one of which is looking pretty serious. Now, I've been watching it for the last couple days. I have not reported on it because these storms, they tend to not really show much as far as public awareness, as far as people being interested in them. But these are people that live in these areas: Japan, Taiwan, North Korea, South Korea, the east end of Japan, or China rather. These areas are about to get hit with a pretty significant storm, and then possibly a second back-to-back. And not only that, but we just had a volcano which is known to be active. This is in Japan, Volcano Asama. If I'm pronouncing that right, I hope so. This is a picture of it right here going off. This was literally today at 22:09:54 UTC time. This is an active volcano. With some information here, the agency warned of possibly flying rocks and pyroclastic flows within about a 4-kilometer radius of the crater. So anyone that lived or was around this volcano at the time had the potential of being injured or seriously hurt just from the flying debris. We know how volcanoes work, but especially active volcanoes. Now, usually with active volcanoes, you don't have much population around them. But just the fact that this decided to go off again at 10:08 p.m., this was, I guess, last night, and it erupted through the night, continuing to erupt right now. And we're also talking about typhoons that are heading into that general area as well. So more so this typhoon here, Crosa, that is going to be the one that might affect Japan if it does not get pushed off into the west of the Pacific Ocean by a front. That looks like that's what's going to happen, but we don't know yet. We're still a little bit out there. But this one here, Lekima, this is a very strong typhoon. Right now, it's at a Category 3. If you were to compare it to the U.S. Atlantic Hurricane Scale, the Saffir-Simpson scale, which I believe, have pulled up here somewhere. You guys know me. I have tabs all over the place. We converted the miles, the knots that it was at 110 to 126, so that puts it in a Category 3, but this thing's been going up and down pretty rapidly. In the last day alone, it's actually rapidly intensified. It has weakened and then re-intensified, and now we are looking at tropical tidbits, and we see this thing drop down to about 929 millibars. So that would be right in between 935 and 921. So we could be talking about this Typhoon Lekima, that is threatening the north end of Taiwan, the east coast of China, and then parts of the island chain of Japan and possibly Japan itself. Again, there's 2 storms out there. This is the stronger of the 2. We could be talking 146 to 161 miles per hour, which would put it in a Category 5 state. Now, that is not what's going on at the moment. Right now, we are at Category 3, but the reason I'm bringing this up is because when we look at these models here, you could see the millibars here. Now, the lower the pressure, the stronger the storm. That is rule of thumb when it comes to typhoons, cyclones, hurricanes, you name it. They're all the same thing. They just are named differently depending on where they are on the earth and the way they spin. If you're in the southern hemisphere, clockwise, northern hemisphere, counterclockwise. So what I want you to pay attention to really quick is this. So we have this set up as far back as we can go to current time, August 7th. That is today. Right now it is showing a 937 pressure, and we are approaching Taiwan. You can see Taiwan right here. In fact, I brought it up on Google Earth so we can get a good look at what we're looking at here. And this is that island chain of Japan they're talking about that is going to get hit with this storm regardless of what happens. There's no change that is going to happen that is going to stop this storm from getting in from the Philippine Sea into the East China Sea. That is what's going on as we speak, and it looks like it's going to clip the top of Taiwan here. So Taiwan is certainly on alert for this storm, and then East China. This is going to be, in my opinion, probably the worst hit area if these numbers that I'm seeing stay correct or stay where they are at right now. I know you can't see the storms on this chart because I'm using Google Earth, but just picture Lekima here, and then we have the other storm, which name is escaping me at the moment. In fact, let's just go back and look. I can't believe I forgot the name of it already. Crosa, there we go. We got Crosa. So Crosa's right around here. So Crosa looks like it wants to make a pass up towards Japan, and then just before it reaches Japan, boom, it gets shot off to the west into the Central Pacific, and then it may be something the U.S. has to deal with, or Alaska. We'll see what happens there. That's usually how it goes. Same deal as when a storm leaves the northeast of the U.S. It goes right to the U.K. and Ireland after passing places like Nova Scotia and the western ends, or eastern ends of Canada, rather. But this is a big storm, guys. And now let's just get to the graphics of it and look at it as a moving storm and a forming storm. So right now we got Crosa at 970 millibars. So we're going to deal with Lekima first, which is definitely going to be a storm to remember for sure. We are at major status right now. It's catastrophic as far as its labeling right now. Actually, no, that's not true. It's devastating right now. And then Category 4 would be catastrophic. Category 5 also catastrophic. So a little bit of, wordplay going on. It doesn't really matter. This is a big, big storm. And again, once again, look at Taiwan compared to the size of this storm. So you can only imagine what this thing would do if it was a direct hit. But what I want you to pay attention to is the lowering of the millibar pressure, which means the storm is once again getting stronger. This storm was at, if I can get back to the chart again, I'm sorry, I'm going to be jumping around here a little bit. Look at it here. Actually, no, that's not the right one either. Let's see if I even still have it. I might not. I'll make the point anyway, and we'll get back to what we were talking about. Basically, what this storm has been doing is it's been rising and dropping in pressure and in speed. At one point, we were at 140 kilometers, which would put this thing almost at a Category 5 storm. So it did reach that point at one point. Then it dropped down. Now we were talking about a Category 3, which looks like that's where it's about right now. But watch the number. We're at 937 right now. This thing gets down to 929 as far as pressure in millibars, and you see that right there. Right as it's crossing from the Philippine Sea into the East China Sea, just as it's passing parallel to Taiwan and the island chain of Japan that sticks down all the way almost to Taiwan, this thing drops again in pressure, making it even stronger. Now, will it hit land at that speed? We don't know because the numbers rise as it gets close. Still, when you have a hurricane or a typhoon or a cyclone that is about to hit land anywhere between 930, 940, 950, that's Category 3, 4, and 5 status, guys. So the east end of China and the northern end of Taiwan are certainly under severe warnings as of right now, and these islands are already being hit with this storm. So I've been looking for some webcam footage. There's not much as far as footage I can get from here. If anybody knows anyone in this area, it would be greatly appreciated if we can get some information from these islands before this gets too devastating to the point where they can't even communicate, because this certainly will knock out power. This is going to be a very big storm surge for these islands. Very high wind rates. We're talking 140 plus miles an hour. If this thing is at 929 when it hits these islands, you can kiss a lot of these islands goodbye. And I hate saying that, but it's just the truth. And that's what we do here. And you can see right here, as of right now, they're expecting this thing, the outer rings, to be at the tip of Taiwan by Friday, and then almost landfall at 9:40, between 9:40 and 9:50 millibars, hitting East China, and then almost bouncing off, and then wrapping right in to this little gully to the west of North and South Korea, still part of China. So this thing's going to do a number on China regardless of what direction it goes in right now. It has nowhere else to go but that way. And then it's going to be Crosa that we have to worry about. Now watch what Crosa's movements do. It's very, very interesting here, and I think it's playing off of these two. Now, these two storms were actually close enough to where they could have done a Fujiwara effect, which is where two storms become two very low pressure storms, especially two hurricanes, will get close enough together to where they affect each other. They do almost like a solar system effect where, you know, planets revolve around the sun or this or that. They begin to spin around each other like a binary star system, and the stronger of the two usually survives. But we don't see that here because we have land interaction before they are close enough to do so. So what's going to happen, in my opinion, is you see Lekima to the left here, and then we got Crosa to the right. You see Lekima move into that gully, kind of separating itself from Crosa. Crosa makes a move to the east, and then it wants to head up towards China come Saturday into Sunday through the weekend. So there's still a lot of time to watch Crosa and see its development and see how it's just a very large storm. Even at 950 millibars, guys, this purple area is very big. If this does hit Japan, it's going to be an issue, but just check out the direction it takes right before making landfall. And talk about luck right there. I mean, if this comes true, they're going to be very lucky. They're going to be very happy to have this happen. But it's just before it gets to that area of Japan where we'd be right here near Tokyo, guys. We'd be right... in fact, might not even make it to Tokyo. It would be more of like just right in this area if it stays that way. We have an airport here and a couple strip islands that come down to the south that will certainly get touched by this storm. But the main island of Japan, which is also dealing with a volcano right now, looks like it might be out of the woods. But again, guys, we are probably a good 6 days away from knowing if this is going to make landfall or if it's going to get pushed out to the Pacific Ocean and then become an issue for places like Alaska and then the west coast of the United States, which we also have something to speak about. So that's why I'm kind of going quick here. But bottom line here, guys, is we have a very strong typhoon in Lekima, which will make landfall regardless. It will affect Taiwan, the islands of Japan, part of Japan. It'll certainly affect the western ends of North and South Korea, and then I think China is going to take the brunt of this storm, and then it's going to sit up in this area for a couple days and really just saturate the area. Just not good situations all around. And then Crosa, if that thing does stay strong and hit Japan, that's going to be a whole nother situation we're going to be talking about in the very near future. So with that said, as far as the Weather Channel, this is what they have to say. So as you can see here, we got Lekima here, which they expect to come up, and like I said, clip the top area of Taiwan, mostly affecting the east side of China. And then we got North and South Korea up here. We do have an invest up in this area, which is kind of dying out. It looks like it's dipping off into the Pacific Ocean once again, which is where Crosa is also expected to go and then follow that same pattern before it hits Japan, hopefully. So, but at a glance, Lekima will threaten Japan's southern Ryoko Islands. Sorry, guys, I am horrible pronouncing these foreign names, but you got it right there. Taiwan and eastern China later this week into the weekend. So that is going to be... It's just going to happen, guys. It's the only place this storm could possibly go. Lekima rapidly intensified from Tuesday into Wednesday. Here's the key points I want to make here. So we've had one intensification Tuesday into Wednesday, which brought this thing to a Category 4. Then it dropped down to a Category 3. It's still a major typhoon. It's still considered a major typhoon at this time, and now is expected to actually get stronger once again, possibly reaching that category 4 in comparison to the Saffir-Simpson scale. Possibly category 5. And I'm only saying that because it's a possibility with those numbers, that barometric pressure, it's very possible. So I'm not putting category 5 on the title or the thumbnail or anything like that. I'm just saying the possibility is there. And then, of course, they're talking about Tropical Storm Crosa, which actually I believe is a hurricane at this point. It's got to be with those wind speeds and the low millibars. Maximum sustained winds in Lekima increased from 70 to 175. All right, they're talking about Lekima again back there. So, all right, once again, like I said, Crosa is something we got to take a couple days and let marinate a little bit and see what goes on with that. And we will certainly follow that for sure. But Lekima is going to be a storm that certainly won't be forgotten anytime soon. And we'll get back into that again tomorrow. There's a couple more things I want to talk about before I let you guys go. This is certainly something we need to talk about. We have a tsunami buoy that is currently active. I'm not exactly sure when this turned on. When they are activated, they go off for 24 hours. I don't believe there was any sort of tsunami near Canada or Washington or the state of Oregon below Washington, but yet this buoy is activated. Now, when you click the buoy, you can usually get detail about the situation. In fact, I might have to... Let me re-click here. There we go. You can see this little red dot is why this buoy was activated. And now it's a 15-second interval, and it seems pretty normal to me. These wave patterns are normal. They rise and fall on a daily basis, just like tides do. And then when you get a jolt or an earthquake in the water, that will cause these buoys to activate. That is their job. That is what they're due. That's what they're meant to do. When you see them in red, it means they have not either reported data within 8 hours or they're out of commission completely. This is a yellow buoy still going off right now. So between this second right now and the past 24 hours, this thing was activated. Now, here's the catch. I have not seen any earthquake that would be big enough or even significantly close enough to activate this buoy. So I'm curious, maybe you guys have the answer. Maybe this is something Dutch already went over, but again, I have been away from the computer a few days, and this is kind of curious to me. So of course, my first thing I did was go to the earthquake page. And for today, I did 1 day all magnitudes, not a single quake in this area. So I figured it had to be something bigger than that. So I go to 7 day of 4.5 and plus magnitudes, and we see nothing. Okay, at least on the west side of the U.S. I mean, there's plenty of 4.5s that have happened over the last 7 days. Obviously, on the West Pacific, that is our hot spot lately. We've been getting some massive earthquakes over here, and I know I missed a few of them, and I apologize for that. Life gets in the way of YouTube sometimes, at least for now. We had this big guy. When was this? This was on the 3rd. This was a 5.2 near Alaska. So we had some buildup in Alaska, and then some pressure was moving down into the west, but we didn't see anything big happen. And then when you hit the 7 day of 2.5 and larger, this is the only thing I could possibly find that could have triggered this tsunami, or buoy. Not tsunami, sorry. This is not what I'm saying. There was no tsunami, at least that I know of, but this is technically Canada. And when you click on it, I just look at the date. The date says 8/3. We are 4 days past that. Tsunami buoys are only activated for 24 hours. So that earthquake could not have possibly activated this buoy unless there is some sort of issue going on where this buoy has been activated since that date. I still don't think that quake is strong enough to even activate a buoy. We're looking at, it's a 4.3 at 10 kilometers deep. Okay, I take that back. Maybe it is big enough to activate that buoy, but why would it still be going off? That's my issue. It is in relatively the same spot. If this buoy, if that earthquake were any bigger, this would be the buoy to go off, including possibly this one and maybe even this one. But the fact that the only earthquake that we have to show that would cause this to go off is 4 days ago, and this is still going, makes me wonder what's going on. So I don't know the answer to this. Maybe the answer's already been answered by those of you out there that do this stuff on a more regular basis as far as the earthquake and the seismic activity type things. 7 days all magnitudes. Sometimes this doesn't really work out too well. It can crash the the system, but I'm going to do it anyway, and actually it worked. There we go. I love that. That's what happens when you actually spend a decent amount of money on a laptop. It works. It actually works, guys. I'm telling you. So again, this is the only earthquake I could see. Again, 4 days old that could have caused that tsunami buoy to go off. If anyone has any answers to this, please feel free down in the comment section. Let me know what's going on. And yes, I am very aware that there is some severe weather situations going on in the U.S. We're going to get into that. It might not be tonight. I got a little bit of things I got to cover tonight. And other things I do in my life. But just a quick overview of what's going on right now. We got another heat wave going on right in the center of the country. Wibble wobbles in the jet stream causing that, and we have a lot of lightning going on. And the reason for the lightning is because we have a lot of moisture in the air mixed with a lot of chaotic atmospheric conditions. So the East Coast right now is certainly going to have a rough night. I want to get back on here and I want to talk about what's going to happen here because this is my home. I live right up here in Northeast PA, so I should be doing a video about this, but I had to get that typhoon information out. And we can tell by the lightning chart now, guys, things are really picking up here in the Northeast. So some of these areas are already under the gun as far as these big storms go, but we have another big system preparing itself in the west, and we all know that once it passes whether it's the Sierra Nevada mountains, whether it's coming down through Washington and Oregon, we always know ground zero is right here, and this is where things start to blow up and then pick and choose which way they're going to go and what areas they're going to affect. So as of right now, we got northern Louisiana, we got Arkansas, Mississippi, Alabama, parts of Tennessee and Kentucky with a big system underneath, and then it pretty much rides up the East Coast, and we will get into that as our next video. If I can get it out tonight, I will. If not, it'll be a what happened because of this situation. I'm doing everything I can to get these videos out to you guys, and I should be back on the normal schedule soon. But we're doing what we can here. And then last but not least, we'll just take a look at this, the Pacific Ocean. First off, the Atlantic has no invest as of right now to worry about over the next 5 days, but tomorrow could be a whole different situation. Right now in the Pacific, though, we have a 50% chance of a cyclone formation over the next 5 days. Now, the reason there's no X here, I have no idea. That could be because they're either in the middle of changing the information, whether that be raising it or dropping it. But the way this thing is even just kind of going up to the north, it looks like it might not be anything serious if it plateaus out and stays below that 20-degree line. I always call that the cutoff line. Once you get above 20 degrees north, the water gets pretty cold and it tends to kill off these storms. If you can if this thing sticks in between 15 and 20, we might see another storm heading out towards Hawaii before we know it. So, all right, guys, it's been another 20-plus minute video. You know how we do here. We're going to get radar scope involved in our next video because you can clearly see there's a lot going on in the Northeast. Last night we had some pretty strong storms, but we can only... you know, the attention spans here. We got to keep things short and sweet and to the point, and then we will talk about detailed information in the next video. So just wanted to touch base with you guys. Hope everybody is well. Keep an eye on Lekima, Norway tracking. I know you're all over that stuff, so I'll get in touch with you, and we'll talk about some data, and then we'll get a live stream going hopefully tomorrow. With that said, guys, that's it. It's 8:32 p.m. East Coast right now on the 7th of August, 2019. Hope everyone has a great night, and we will talk tomorrow at the absolute least if I don't get something out later on tonight. Caroline sends her love to everybody, and we will talk soon. Bye-bye. Thank you very much.